You are listening to a Cult Talk Network podcast.
The Imperium. How mighty its aspect. How far-reaching its boundaries. As one world dies, 10 more are brought into the fold. Fear us, for we count the lives of planets, not men.
Hello, everyone, and welcome to the Cult of Lore. I'm Eric.
I'm Ben. And I'm Dan.
And today is part 3 of Imperium Appreciation.
You sound like such a librarian.
Yes, come into our library of
Now,
lore.
children, sit down and I'll tell you a tale.
It's
like, hey, guys.
Circle. Like a 40K librarian. It's a very different story. Very more.
Yeah, that's
Fox,
different.
man,
Yeah. No.
There'd be a bolt around clicking somewhere.
No.
Yes, you're listening to the story, children.
So on the last episode, we got all the way up to the Age of Apostasy,
Yes.
which was basically the ecclesiarchy seizing control, the establishment of the Sisters of Battle, the Adeptus Sororitas as an overall faction. A little bit of housekeeping. One thing that we repeatedly said was the legions thing, and it's actually a legion is 100,000. So when we were
100,000.
talking about the Horus Heresy, and we were talking about the legions of traitors and the legions of loyalists, we kept saying 10,000. It's actually 100,000.
So there you go. There's a little correction.
So there's
there.
a little
Good
correction.
catch
Another
there,
thing that
Ben.
I said that, and it kept bugging me because I knew I was getting it wrong, but I couldn't figure out how. When I was talking about the Age of Apostasy, I said that a Grey Knight came and talked to the cult that would become the Sororitas and basically set them straight about the Emperor and this guy impersonating being a servant of the Emperor. It wasn't a Grey Knight. It was actually a Custodes.
Oh, okay. Okay.
So one actually left the abuse under the Emperor's name with the Sororitas, although they weren't named that at the time, obviously, became so bad that actually one of the 10,000 left the Imperial palace to go talk to them, and not just talk to them, but bring them before the Emperor himself in the Golden Throne. So it was a big deal.
That was the thing.
Yeah.
Holy cow.
They needed it to stop, and they needed to stop quickly. So that's a little bit of housekeeping. And we're going to pick up here with the Gothic War, which is also known as the 12th Black Crusade, the fall of Cadia, stuff like that. And Dan's going to lead the spearhead on this one. So Dan, why don't you take it away and start us off?
The Gothic War kind of started with the Whisper. There were a lot of just disappearing ships, lost communications. Something was happening.
That's going to be a reoccurring theme tonight.
Oh, no.
There was an Inquisitor looking into all this, Inquisitor Horst. I can maybe find his full name in a minute.
Also another reoccurring theme tonight.
Oh, no, mine too. Yeah, they come up.
Inquisitors, man. I love Inquisitors. God, I love Inquisitors.
Yeah.
So while Dan's doing that, we haven't talked about Inquisitors yet. An Inquisitor, the Inquisition is a separate branch of the Militarum. Or not the Militarum, but the
Administratum.
The Administratum, the Imperium overall. They answer to absolutely no one save the Emperor themselves.
Yep.
Himself. The Inquisition, only other Inquisitors can call other Inquisitors into question.
Nobody else.
Nobody else. And these guys wield the authority to do whatever the fuck they want.
This is another, 40K name. His name's Thaddeus Falconet Horst.
Oh boy.
An Inquisitioner of the Ordo Malleus. So there's 3 orders. There's Malleus, Hereticus, I think, and Xenos.
And Xenos.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Okay.
there are three primary schools to which most Inquisitors graduate from. But however, these are not like Harry Potter schools where once you're in it, you're in it. It is not uncommon for Inquisitors to bounce back and forth between the schools throughout many times throughout their career, depending on what kind of nonsense they get up to.
Oh, no kidding.
So their primary school is like what they're really good at, but they fluctuate all the time.
'em.
The Order of Malleus is the order that is specializing in the warp and demons. They work really, really fucking close with the Grey Knights.
Okay. That makes sense.
The Order Hereticus is you can probably pretty guess. It talks about heretics and cults,
Yeah.
other religions. These are the guys that people are paranoid about.
Yeah, I
Right,
think they also
they're the
get
witch hunters.
the independent dictators, the ones trying to have democracy. The outliers you don't want in the
Right.
Right.
So
that are easily
there is kind of
accused
a
heresy.
cartoon version of an Inquisitor where it's like, oh, did you even fart a whisper? Well, then it's burn you at the stake. Being an Inquisitor is a lot more complicated, and it's a lot more than that. However, these guys, the Ordo Hereticus, are known as the witch hunters, and they're the burn you at the stake types.
Yep.
But coincidentally, they also they tend to be one of my more favorite Inquisitors because they actually go after the ecclesiarchy, the church of the Imperium.
Really?
If they start going outside of what is established, even though they're going outside of it anyway,
Right.
because the imperial creed is that there's no nothing.
Imperial religion.
But when when a member of the ecclesiarchy does tend to go a little bonkers, it's the Ordo Hereticus that seizes them.
Wow. Okay.
And then
They
the
handled
Order
that
Xenos
heresy.
is the ones that go after aliens and other Xeno. They specialize in the orcs, the Eldar, the Tyranids,
Yeah.
the Necrons.
They're humans first. Xenos never.
Right.
Yeah.
Correct. So those are the three major schools of Inquisitors.
Okay.
Yeah, so Horst is brought out because a specific planet, ARX, ARX, it has a Imperial Guard outpost and some Mechanicus, and they go quiet. No one can hear from them. I think it's a frigate called the Ascendants, gets like some sort of strange astropath signal.
Oh no.
So he's sent out to investigate, and there's more of these disappearances. And what the rumors start happening is there's a really old battleship showing up and raiding people. And it's actually called the Plague Claw.
Oh shit.
Yeah, and it's believed to be like a cursed, necrofied ship. It's got like an actual living disease to it.
Oh,
Is that Typhus'
wow.
ship?
It does belong to the traitor Death Guard.
Yeah. So if you remember from our first video, the Death Guard are the guys that serve Nurgle.
Nurgle.
They're all about disease and rot. And Typhus is a guy I don't think we've talked about. He was the Primarch. Well, yes, we did actually. He's the guy that kind of betrayed the Death Guard to start with and served him up to Nurgle on a plate.
Right. Yes.
Yeah, so apparently this Plague Claw has actually been like it's like the Flying Dutchman. It's been a ghost story for like 4,000 years.
Oh, cool.
I love that. Oh, cool.
No, that is cool.
There's a ghost ship.
Of course there's a goddamn
Of course
ghost.
there's
What
a
are you
ghost
talking
ship.
about? There's a ghost ship. Have you ever looked up Space Hulks?
Yes, actually a little bit in relation to my topic.
That's
today.
insane. They can literally be like continent spanning ships because they're just
They're huge.
they're an
And
amalgamation of
Space
ships that got blended together in the warp. Like they're insane. Of course there's a ghost ship.
So it goes from raids on ships to like actual all-out attacks. And the first is a hive world called Morgengast, and it gets sacked by Chaos Space Marines led by acolytes of Nurgle.
Oof.
Oh.
That's a bad way to go too.
Yeah.
Not that there's really a good way to go.
Not that
in
there is a
40K.
good one, but that's definitely not in my
Yeah.
top 3.
And so Horst is convinced there's going to be more incursions, just a feeling, but it's kind of backed up by the fact that these really powerful warp storms start coming in to the Gothic sector.
Uh-oh.
Oh yeah, always pointing to some shit going on.
Okay.
So these are so bad that the sector is actually cut off from any reinforcements.
Wow. Okay.
Yeah, that's
Okay.
even worse.
And it ends up being these back and forth, planet taking events where these all these different forces united by chaos. It's every faction working under Abaddon.
Oh, no kidding.
Yeah, Chaos Undivided.
Chaos Undivided, and Abaddon's kind of heading the spirit.
And Abaddon was Horus's second in command
Okay.
during the Horus heresy.
And he has been made demon prince?
He's the no. So
No.
he is not a
No.
demon
No.
prince, but he
Okay.
is the new war master. He inherited Horus's title,
Oh, shit.
but he changed the Sons of Horus into the Black Legion,
Okay.
and
right.
they serve Chaos Undivided, and they also the Black Legion accepts members from any other Chaos traitor faction that wants to serve Undivided.
Oh, they're like, yeah, sure. If you
So
want to join
Abaddon's
us, do it.
forces have Plague Marines, they have Night Lords, they have Alpha Legion,
Oh, boy.
maybe. They have they have everybody. As long as you're willing to serve every god equally and you're to listen to Abaddon, they'll take you.
Well, okay. Holy crap. Inclusive.
Indeed.
I'll give him that.
And it's a smart way to go because it gives you a lot of fucking options.
And
Right.
what's great
Yeah.
is while these warp storms are happening, we're getting a lot of nervous people, and these powder kegs are exploding. So we're getting riots, we're getting cults forming up, we're getting lynch mobs, all
That seems
in the name of the emperor.
That's
you
just
know?
like exactly what happens every time something bad happens. It's like riots and cults and
Yeah.
And-
Start spreading out.
And so some of these cults are like done in good faith. They're trying to get rid of the heretics, and they're trying to, but it's bringing in so much chaos that more chaos slips in.
Yeah, but you know why they
course.
believe that? Because the ecclesiarchy's feeding them that shit. Them cocksucking bastards.
Oh, God.
Ugh.
Yeah.
Anyway, sorry, Dan.
Throne humpers.
Yeah,
The ones that think that the emperor will do a damn thing if you don't do it yourself.
everybody's got to hump the bunk when it comes to it. But anyway,
So, and it's not just the Chaos Marines. We also have human pirates. Orcs are showing up.
Oh, boy. Oh, no.
Eldar pirates. It's a lot of space combat. Planet,
Oh,
and
okay.
so and a lot of planetary invasions happening all over the sector.
Wow. Okay.
orcs, man, they're so opportunistic. Anytime somebody like starts a war with somebody else, the orcs are always like slipping in the back door.
oi, is there a fight?
Well,
Yeah. Can we
come in?
part of the reason there's Eldar. I mean, Eldar are always there for, I think, the Dark Eldar for a little enjoyment.
Oh yeah,
chaos.
they're raiders, so they like to come into battle zones. And
But Abaddon's got his hands on some toys. He's not
Oh, no.
fighting this just with his Marines. He's got weapons.
Okay.
He's got this Eldar artifact. I think there's two parts to it. One's called the Eye of Night. One's called the Hand of Darkness,
Okay.
and it gives
Eye of
him
Night,
control
Hand of
over
Darkness.
these Blackstone fortresses,
Oh yeah,
which are these just ancient, just old artifacts.
they're from the dark age of technology, right?
Yes,
Are they Imperium or are they
Older.
Eldar?
Before the Imperium, back when mankind was like the shit.
no, it's older than Dark Age. It's alien
Oh, is it?
It's alien tech.
Oh,
No
is it
kidding.
Necron?
Yes.
Oh,
It-
okay.
it could be Elder Gods. or
Okay, so it's
older
like
ones.
War in Heaven era
Oh.
stuff.
Yeah.
Holy cow.
Back before
Okay.
mankind was a hint and a
Yeah,
whisper.
because these were from Xenos myths. These aren't
Oh.
like human myths.
Yeah, okay, so yeah, these are War in Heaven level.
And so what we did when we found them, the Imperium. I guess I shouldn't say we, but humans.
Hey, it's a we.
During
There are no
Imperium
heretics here.
Appreciation Month.
They-
Is it all the time?
No,
we should do
no,
it
it
24/7.
takes as long as it takes to get through the timeline, and then we'll do this for probably the Eldar maybe next, or whatever faction we decide
Yeah,
to do it for.
Yeah, it'll
but
be like the Eldar
but
Chronicles or something.
let it be known there are no heretics here, so it's fine.
You're laughing a little too hard, Eric.
Of course, no. All hail the Emperor
Oh.
of Man, our
Mm.
savior and hero.
Where was I? So what we did with the Dark Blackstone fortresses when we found them, we've got them to kind of power up, like they were producing energy, but that was about it. We couldn't control them, so we just slapped a bunch of tech on it. We filled them with
boy.
guns, like big old guns, and we were able to draw power from the fortress.
Oh,
I mean,
Uh,
when you consider what they do, if I remember correctly, that's sad. But I mean, if I couldn't figure that out, that's what I would do with it.
So
Oh.
they turned them into giant orbiting battle stations.
okay. So they're basically like, okay, I don't know what it does, but it's a battery.
Yep.
Yeah.
Huh.
And well positioned.
Yeah.
But with these two objects, the Hand of Darkness, the Eye of Night, Abaddon's able to do stuff with them. And he can basically create beams of immaterium in real space and just rip things apart.
Oh,
Yeah.
that doesn't sound good.
Nah, they're like Death Stars, but they use the warp.
They use like the warp is the beam that they
Yeah, I'm pretty
destroy
sure.
shit with.
Yeah, the Immaterium.
The Death Star equivalent of the beam.
Yeah.
I imagine it's some sort of hellish, chaosy, fire-looking shit that just spews
It
forth.
actually, ironically, looks like a chaos symbol if you look at it from above. It's like these.
The Blackstone Fortress.
Yeah, it's like a
does.
sandwich. It's like
Oh,
a
okay.
sandwich of different parts, and if you look at it from above, it kind of, I think it rotates. It looks like the chaos.
Oh, that's
arrows.
neat. I like that. That's pretty cool.
Did anybody see that interview with Henry Cavill here recently? He
Oh,
was
no.
on.
I have not.
He was on the BBC or something. He was doing some interview in the UK, I think, and he just kept looking at the set piece that was behind him throughout the entire interview. And finally he goes, okay, I have to say it, but this looks like a Blackstone fortress, right? and the guy's like, a what?
Oh, what?
God love the Emperor.
So like that's it from the side and that's it from above.
Oh,
if you
okay.
kinda
And
see
I
it from
see.
above,
I can
it-
imagine now that seeing it from above, the
Yep.
chaos symbol, the 8 points. Oh, neat. Cool.
Yeah,
See,
they are
this is
pretty.
why
They
it's
are
good we
pretty
do
cool
images.
looking.
Yeah. Yeah. Cool.
So against all this chaos is the Battlefleet Gothic. Yeah, they named a game after it.
Oh
I was
yeah.
gonna say that rang a bell big time in my brain.
Oh yeah.
So the Battlefleet Gothic. That's
That was the battle fleet that protected the Gothic sector,
okay.
and it became legendary because of this war.
I want to say,
Okay.
Admiral Cornelius von Ravensburg.
God,
This is
Warhammer.
I love it.
Cornelius von Ravensburg.
Oh
okay.
my god.
So this was, I don't know if you prefer the Gothic War or the 12th Black Crusade. It's kind of either or.
So I would say it depends on which point of view you're trying to project. If you're telling from the Imperium, it's the Gothic War, I would say.
Okay. And what would it be from?
From
for
Chaos and
Chaos.
the Eldar, it's probably, or the ones that are Xenos, they would probably, because they don't they don't know them by sectors, I would say. Although the
Right.
traders would, but for them it's the Crusade because they're the ones launching it. So
Right.
So I guess
They
it
are
depends on your point
Crusade.
of view.
So
that makes sense.
he's got these. He already has these Blackstone fortresses, but then at a world called Savaven, Savaven. It's a cardinal world run by the ecclesiarchy. So this
Ooh.
entire planet is a church. Probably
Oh,
Yeah.
okay.
gilded up
okay.
the wazoo.
Oh yeah.
Wow.
That would be one of the worst planets to be born on. Can you
Oh
imagine?
my gosh, that would be so miserable.
Like
I'm
a-
sorry.
A cathedral planet, a cardinal planet.
I doubt anyone's born on those worlds. Who's fucking
Yes,
on
they
those
are.
worlds?
Born-
Yes,
born on
they
them.
are. I don't want to think about it, but they
Oh
definitely
boy.
are. The way hive structure, the way hive cities operate, like that's like having a hive city on the entire planet. There's no way they can keep track of all that. There's definitely the lower levels definitely have
Yeah.
people
Yeah.
Oh, man.
or fucking
There's some maintenance people that got lost in the pipe work. and they've
yes.
just been
Oh my
gone
god, there's
feral.
Right.
probably whole
Yeah.
cities down there that they don't know about. And then not to mention
Oh
Gene
man, I
Stealers.
wonder what the underworld, the underlayers to a cathedral world would look like. That'd be an interesting. Probably a lot of zealots and.
So on this
cultisty
world, Abaddon
Mm.
reveals another weapon of his. He's got it's the Planet Killer. It's just a big old ship.
Oh no.
Yeah, it's a warship that has its own weapons that can take out. Apparently, it blew the entire world apart, killing 14 billion Imperial citizens.
14 billion.
So one thing about Abaddon is he kind of has like small dick syndrome.
Okay. So he needs to hit it big and.
Well, he also had to like take back the Legion from Horus's name,
But he
while also like getting the taste of his dick out of his mouth.
right, like he's simultaneously jealous of Horus because of the legend that Horus is, while also being like, but he also failed, so I need to do better than him. It's
I
a
see.
weird, but he definitely has a chip on his shoulder that he needs to prove something. He would be the B villain if the
Oh,
A
no.
villain hadn't died.
Oh god.
Although I was gonna say they had him duel and kill a really important, really good fighter.
He
So-
pops out and he has his moments. That's what his crusades are for.
Yeah,
Wow.
but by the time he kills this legendary swordsman whose name is Sigismund's kind of like old,
Yeah.
Oh,
and he doesn't have the
past his prime.
and Abaddon has like the warp that keeps him like mutated and young and shit. So it's
Well,
like
not-
he's like, I killed Sigismund. I'm like, you killed an older
Yeah,
version.
there's the energy
Yeah.
of the warp and the fact just time's working differently.
Yeah,
might not
so
even
like
experience
he's
that
like,
at
I
that
killed this
time.
legendary swordsman. And I'm like, yeah, you did, bitch.
I always hate that when like some young upstart gets the best of somebody that like has a good, well-earned reputation. They're just past that prime. Then, you
Yeah,
know what I mean? I
But
hate
that's an
seeing that
effective
in-
tool, though, is you just
Oh,
show
I
that nobody beats time.
It's true. Like I hate it because that's an engaging feeling. Like I see that happen in stuff. I'm trying to think of an example, like maybe something in Game of Thrones or whatever, and you're like, come on.
Well, like a real life example would be like we've all worked with people that are a little bit too old to be doing what they're doing.
Oh yeah, yeah.
And you're just like, listen, you probably shouldn't be doing this anymore. And they're like, I'm not retired. And you're like, I get it, but like,
Right.
so it's that sort of thing.
Yeah.
You don't ever want to outlive your usefulness.
Mm-hmm.
So it's tough to see somebody that was so great now lose to somebody that's not so great, not by any fault in their training or technique, but by something they just cannot control.
Just time.
And
Time.
It happens to every competitor.
It does.
Yeah, that's a good point. Yep.
So where are we at, Dan?
Well,
sadness.
this big world just went down, Savavin, but more to come. They actually take a planet that has like a forge world, and they're able to make their own ships, reinforce themselves. They're enslaving planets for labor. They're making sacrifices to the chaos gods to gain power.
It's a Chaos Forge world?
It wasn't, but they took it over.
Taking on the Forge worlds. Well, they didn't assault it. They did it by cult, which is better because
from the inside out.
Forge worlds are really heavily defended because
right,
they're where all the technology comes from, besides like Mars and stuff.
So. Well, I think this is he only started with like I think 2 black fortresses. He was getting more as he went along.
Oh,
yeah.
So he took another fortress. He took I think it was an orbital mechanicus facility. So that's where they were able to start building new ships in the orbital works.
Right.
Okay.
And the Imperials trying to fight, and they're getting harassed by Eldar for some reason.
Really?
Yeah, they're attacking their supply lines, hitting them where they think they're safe. They're trying to like get ready for other stuff, and
holy cow,
the Eldar are attacking them.
They're like doing like guerrilla warfare harassment kind of.
Yeah.
Yep.
Interesting.
Do we know why?
Oh yeah, for
Is
sure.
that okay?
So even Abaddon had to deal with them because he's having problems with the Eldari too. So
yeah, so they're not taking sides.
They were able to.
No, but they're still being bitches. It's like, pick a side or fuck off.
Yeah, they had to like station up at a webway gate and block it off to keep the Eldari from coming in and out as they please.
Plug that hole. Plug that hole.
Yeah, so I could name a couple. There's Corellia, Trikulu. I'm just kind of all bad. Just bad things are happening. Massacring thousands of people. Planetary defense forces falling apart. So while this is happening, the Ravensburg's trying to amass his forces. He has the battlefleet Gothic, and he's realized that the Chaos forces have kind of spread out.
Oh, okay.
And he doesn't have a lot in the way of reinforcements or troops, but he does have some Astartes chapters.
Okay, cool.
Always a good thing.
Yeah, that's nice to have some backups.
He's got the White Consuls, the Exorcist, and the Red Talons.
So Red Talons, I'm going to guess Blood Angel's successor.
I'm going to check, but
the White, what was the other one?
Phone in now to make your choice.
White Scars, Blood Angels. What was the other one?
Okay, White Consuls, Ultramarines.
Oh, well, they're
the Red Talons were Iron Hand.
Really?
Oh.
Yeah, Iron Hand.
Iron Hands.
Exorcist, 13th founding, Imperial Fist.
I mean, 1 out of 3 is okay.
Yeah.
Imperial Fists are useful.
Exorcist. That's a pretty sweet name for a chapter.
For the Imperial Fist. I wonder if, so the Imperial Fist, they build bastions and stuff, but a lot of their successor chapters are like the Black Templars. They took a really religious bend in their successors.
Ooh, okay.
So the Exorcist actually kind of makes sense for the Imperial Fist.
Cool.
And the Black Templars, they're nuts.
So I'm trying to get to the part where the Imperium kind of rallies. I think, he kind of was able to like pick off these smaller entities with his entire fleet. So he was kind of putting a lot of pressure on Abaddon.
Okay, because they were so spread out. He was kind of concentrating on bits at a time.
So that kind of enraged Abaddon. So he started massing his forces to attack them. And they went to the Tyrannids system. He had 3 of these Blackstone fortresses.
Sorry at this point.
Oh,
he actually went into the system and he made it go supernova. So he just killed a shit ton of people just to say fuck you for even trying.
Ooh.
See, but that's like the equivalent of Abaddon throwing a fit, right?
Yeah.
Right.
So their idea was to catch up or to beat Abaddon to the next Blackstone fortress so he couldn't take it over.
They race ahead of him.
Yeah.
Can you imagine how hard it would be to fight like the Black Legion, the Chaos Undivided, where it's like all these different traitor legions that have all these different specialties and all these different Christ, man, that'd be like fighting a grab bag full of shit.
I know, because you're being like infested with disease at the same time that people are like doing horrible things probably to your orifices along the way.
And not to mention, you've
And
got berserkers who are just going
just-
apeshit. You've
just-
got
yeah.
wizards who are casting all kinds of magic
and you
spells.
don't know which one of them you're going to run into when you go around the corner.
Nope, sure as
Like,
fuck don't.
not that you'll be prepared for it, even if you did know.
It helps to have friends. In this case, the Eldar are finally, I don't know, deciding to help, or
They seem to be-
they aren't being unhelpful at this point.
Now they're more focused on attacking the chaos.
They maybe figure out who the bigger threat is.
Yeah.
Well, they actually work together with the Imperial troops, and they use their webway to position them.
Oh, cool.
One of
There we go. Yeah, positioning is very important in a war.
I wonder if the Gothic War is the first time the Eldar and the Imperium have actually worked together.
I can't think of another time that I've heard such a thing occur at this point.
Maybe the War of the Beast.
Oh yeah, possibly.
Maybe we'd have
Yeah,
to look back.
I'm
in.
sure we'll find
But,
out.
But yeah, they do. They're working with them definitely now. The Eldar
Mhm.
definitely have seemed to kind of decided that like they can't do this all by themselves. I mean, it only took a couple billion.
Trying
years.
to bring up the important Eldar. I don't see their name, but there's Captain Abradal. That's a human. He led his battleship like into the Blackstone Fortress and was able to disrupt the ship.
Okay.
Ooh, just crashed into it.
Like kamikaze style?
So yeah, he was able to. I don't think it killed him.
Well, you have to remember they have those big plows on the front of them that they're actually designed to ram things.
No, it was sacrificial. It was,
Oh, damn.
The flame of purity.
Well, I mean, shit.
Yeah, it was a battle cruiser and it was destroyed. Yep.
Wow.
But it left Abaddon no choice but to flee back into the Eye of Terror.
Oh, okay.
little
Drove 'em back. Drove him back. There we go. And that wasn't Eldar that did that?
No, that was a
Oh,
human.
oh,
That was
Oh,
Imperial
okay.
forces kind of helped by the Aldari webway.
Right. Okay.
It was
I was
because
gonna
it was
say,
able to. It let them kind of get to the next battle fleet or the next Blackstone Fortress first.
right, kind of get ahead and okay.
So
Oh.
so he took out one of the Blackstone, or did he take out two of them?
He took out one by crashing into Cadia, right?
That's the 13th Crusade.
Oh, that's the 13th.
Yeah, he's able to escape with two of his Blackstone fortresses, leaving behind a bunch of chaos now divided.
Oh no! Now divided.
Oh yeah, just fucking
Oh,
abandons
the
them.
infighting.
Little bastards. Just ooh.
Aw,
Yeah, they still have they have to
they were
mop up
getting along so well.
I'm sure they
pirates
fucking
and
were.
all the leftover stuff. But
Yeah.
that was essentially the Gothic War.
I can't.
Wow.
I cannot imagine having Night Lords and Iron Warriors together and thinking that's gonna work out well. Or Iron Warriors and fucking Emperor's Children. That would be bad because you have the Iron Warriors who are just these cold, no nonsense, and I mean, demonic, no nonsense.
Yeah.
So it has like the results listed.
Oh, cool.
20 years of war,
Oh boy.
billions killed.
Well, sure.
Yeah.
It doesn't have there's an uncountable list of planets lost or destroyed.
Yeah.
Yep.
4 of the 6 Blackstone fortresses were destroyed. The 2 that
4 of
remained were
6.
stolen and entered the warp.
Oh,
Oh
shit.
shit.
And it says Inquisitor Horus spent the rest of his days fighting or tracking down Abaddon and looking for the fortresses.
Wow. But the fortresses are lost to this day, probably.
Oh, I'm sure they are.
Yeah.
I'm sure they're still in the warp.
Oh
They'll
boy.
crop up eventually when Abaddon's ready to. He always has to have some new super weapon before he steps his bitch ass out.
Hitler was kind of like that. He needed like really, really big weapons to be built. Like he expended so many resources on that compared to like the American way was more like just produce it, produce it good, but quick, smaller is fine. Get it out there.
Yep.
Yeah.
Our individual equipment.
Yeah.
is-
Yeah, I'm
Okay.
trying to see how
What's
many Blackstone fortresses he had by the 13th Crusade. I think he only had one at that point. The one he crashed into the planet.
Oh,
Yeah,
wow.
the fall of Cadia.
Can't tell
Oh
you
yeah,
for
that's
sure.
we got it on the board. It's M42, 13th Black Crusade. I see it there.
Oh.
It's right after the Third Tyrannic War.
Did I say the time span? It started in 139 M41 and it ended, I want to say 142 at 143 M41.
Okay.
20 years,
20 years.
a little over.
And see, while that was happening, you have like other wars that were happening at the same time.
Yeah.
Like Jesus.
Yeah, this is just one sector of the Imperium that just had it really bad because of the warp storms.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm. Which also seems to be a common theme. That kind of
Well,
came up.
yeah.
Yeah. That came up for me a couple of times, at least once that I could think of.
Well,
offhand.
for sure,
Yeah.
because at least one of yours involves the a very big
Yeah.
appearance.
Yeah. Oh.
All right, so that was the shorthand of the Gothic War.
Yep.
Eric, you want to take us on into what was the next major crisis for the Imperium?
Yes, I shall. I'm going to take us to 444 M41. We're going to talk about this is classified information.
Of course.
The First War of Armageddon.
Okay, now real quick before we do this, the Gothic War was a single event. We covered it as a single event.
Yeah.
The Wars for Armageddon,
Yeah.
plural, and what I'm going to cover, which is the Tyrannic Wars, were a series of wars that happened throughout a relatively short span. Like one happened, then another happened, and then another happened.
Right.
So we're just going to cover them all at kind of as one story.
Right. Okay. Yeah. So I'll be going through first, second, third.
Yep.
Even though it is intermittent with Tyrannic Wars. First,
correct.
second,
Like
third.
the first War for Armageddon happened, then the first Tyrannic War, then the second War for
war,
Armageddon,
yeah.
then the second Tyrannic War, so on and so forth.
Yes.
But for the sake of our sanity and yours, we're just going to cover them at a jump.
Yep. It's a trilogy, if you will.
It is.
So a little background on the planet of Armageddon. So that's where the Wars of Armageddon get their name. This is a planet called Armageddon.
It's a very
it's
spicy name for a planet.
Right. And it's a very important industrial world in the Imperium. It is in Segmentum Solar, 10,000 light years to the galactic northeast of Terra. So something about its position. I don't know enough about our map to really understand the importance of its location, but it's also very big because of the industry around it.
Sure.
And some background on it is, and this is also classified information, although not by the Imperium, but by the AdMech, this planet used to be Olinar, I believe from the time of the Crusades.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah. And Olinar was, this is the very, 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 very shorthand brief story of it. Olinar had an orc problem, an ongoing one, and the AdMech were ordered by the Imperium to destroy the planet, commit exterminatus. But the guy in charge of see, I'm not in the right place on my notes for this, but they were really interested in the orc technology because whatever was going on there was, and they actually managed to reverse engineer their teleporta technology to teleport the planet somewhere else.
Oh my Jesus.
And then they reported to the Imperium that they had hurled the planet into a nearby star and that it was gone. And so it's the AdMech, so they have to accrue the knowledge. So they, did this to preserve the orc technology. And that was way back when, again, I believe during the time of the Unification Wars, Great Crusades.
That would be the Great Crusade, not the Unification War.
There we go.
Unification War was just Terra.
So then the planet was rediscovered much later and named Armageddon and became this industrial world for the Imperium without any knowledge of its prior history.
Right. And that happens. They lose planets. They forget about them and rediscover them, rename them.
Yes.
God.
And that's a very, very shorthand background of that bit of history to this planet. And so that's going to kind of bring us to the year I said prior, 444, Millennium 41. Let's see. We have Angron showing up over the planet of Armageddon in, I think this was a space Hulk that he had found in the warp, and it was just teleporting around randomly, and then it just showed up there, and he was like, this'll do, and decides to attack the planet.
Oh, jeez.
Yeah.
Can you imagine just sitting at a just whatever your home planet is, and then all of a sudden a fucking space Hulk shows up, which is already enough to cause you to want to lose your ship. But then fucking the World Eaters and Angron come out of it.
Yep.
You're just like, well, I think I'd just shoot myself. I think I'd be done because there's nothing you're going to be able to do there.
And right. So they show up. There are also Chaos Cultists involved in the war. So the attackers list is World Eaters, Demons, and
yeah,
Chaos
it's all,
Cultists.
and you can anytime the traitor legions attack, unless it's a very specific group like the Night Lords who don't do demons.
Yeah,
Just consider demons and cultists to be part of the pack.
they're
of
all
the
in the
parcel.
mix. Yeah,
Yeah,
They come
they're
together.
the peons that the traitor legions use to absorb bullets.
Yes, and so the defenders during this war of the Planet of Armageddon were first the Planetary Defense Force, of course, but overall throughout the span of the conflict, it also included the Armageddon Steel Legion. So I imagine they were already there from the beginning. Do we know anything about the Steel Legion?
Well, it's one of the
Armageddon
names.
Steel
It's like a
Legion.
named faction.
Yeah. As well as the Space Wolves and the Grey Knights.
Oh,
So they came in.
damn, that's a hell of a force.
Yeah, and apparently the Space Wolf, I believe they both came in their entirety to this
Oof.
war because it became
Well, yeah, there's
there's
a demon Primarch on the field. That's
Yes. Yes.
some bad news.
And chaos coming through. So the kind of the results of the conflict are that Angron gets banished by the Grey Knights back to the warp. I'm not sure what happens to him from there.
Oh, he has. I don't think he's reappeared yet.
He hasn't. Okay.
But there's a lot of signs at time of recording
yeah.
that Gilliman's back, and it's
Uh-huh.
looking. A lot of people are suspecting that Angron's going to be the next one back.
Oh boy. Okay. So on top of I tried to get some casualties numbers for the war, but it just kind of said countless.
Yeah,
unknown,
these guys. I don't know why you guys are. I don't even attempt.
So
to do
never
that
mind
shit.
those numbers.
I never look up the casualties for the wars on these things. First of all, it's millions at least.
Yeah. Oh yeah, definitely.
At least.
Yeah.
And the Imperium doesn't even keep track anyway. They just go is there anybody left from this unit? No. Okay, next.
So what happens after this is because again, this was a conflict with chaos. So the Inquisition ordered that all of the participants, except for the Space Marine,
The chapters.
Yep, that were involved. Everyone else is to be sterilized and either executed or sent to concentration camps for slave labor to keep things quiet.
All of Yep. They'll often mind wipe them or turn them into servitors as well.
Yeah. So this led to actually a conflict between the Space Wolves and the Inquisition.
I knew you'd like this. This is a good. This was. You need to dive more on this.
I do because I don't know much about it. I just know that the Space Wolves were trying to smuggle people out and go into war with the Inquisition over it.
Yeah. Oh yeah. They risked big time. They risked extermination.
They were fuck no. Yeah, they could have they went out. Remember what we were saying about the Inquisition earlier? Nobody has to. They don't have to answer to anybody.
Nope.
You don't look at an Inquisitor, no matter what rank you are, and say, "What the fuck are you doing?" and live.
Yep. And not only did they do that, but they smuggled people out from under them. And I believe there was actual cases of them physical combat.
I believe it
where the
was
Wolves were just
actual combat.
This is not going down.
I believe actual combat did occur. It was kind of a civil war. And I don't have much on that right now. I kind of figure that either could come up in a deeper dive on the Space Wolves or
you'll
the
just like that for
Inquisition.
your own personal storytelling.
Yeah, no, because I'm like Space Wolves. Fuck yeah, those are my boys. You don't do this to people. Give them a mind wipe or something. I don't know.
Sure,
man.
you have to stop the spread.
Yeah,
of chaos.
I understand the
that.
chaos thing, but that's some shit. So,
but
good on them.
I remember that particular part where the Space Wolves told the Inquisition to go fuck themselves, and I was like, oh my god, you don't do that.
And so we're going to jump ahead, actually, quite a few centuries now, because again, now we're just kind of completing the set here of Wars for Armageddon. So this is on the official Imperium record, really the first War of Armageddon, even though it is actually the second War of Armageddon. And this occurred in 941 of M41 and lasted until I have an end date on it, 943 M41. So, the participants of this war, well, I'll get into why it started, kind of, and who the aggressors were. There is an orc war boss known as, here we go, War Boss Gazgul Mag Uruk Thraka.
Yeah, well done.
Yes, thank you.
I believe you got that correct.
And he had been, from what I can gather from this guy so far, he had been real busy gathering up a Wa. And it was Wa time for Armageddon.
He's a pretty popular character for Orc.
Yeah, he seems like he's pretty.
He
There's a
crops
lot
up
on
a lot.
him. Yeah, like actually, he's one of two characters actually that I learned about studying for this that I would like to do a chapter on. Either a combined chapter for reasons we'll get into, or they're on separate.
Who's the other character?
Commissar Yarick.
Oh,
Oh,
yeah.
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 Both of us are like, oh, yeah. Yarick's an interesting
Yes.
Interesting
Ooh,
lad.
I love him.
Interesting lad, that one.
Indeed. And he's one of the defenders of Armageddon in this second War of Armageddon.
Second First War.
Second First War, yes. Other I'll just name other factions that were part of the defense force, either initially or over time as the conflict went on. We've got the Steel Legion again, Tempestus Scions.
So those are the stormtroopers.
Oh,
they're special forces. They go to the Scholara Progentia.
okay. What's that?
It's like a special school or a series of special schools where they take in children of high-ranking officers and war orphans.
Oh, take them in.
Yeah, and they train them. The best of the best go on to become commissars. They go to commissarial school. The okay ones become the stormtroopers, the Scion, tempestuous Scions. They get pretty good kit. They get some of the best kit, some of the best training outside of like Space Marine chapters. They're kind of the best the Imperium has. And the ones that get washed out end up back in the Imperial Guard.
Oh, okay. Yeah. It's like, sorry, you tried back to the trenches.
Yeah.
And the Steel Legion are from the planet of Armageddon. They're a mechanized assault troop.
Oh, okay.
And personnel carriers and stuff like that.
Yeah,
neat. Okay.
Armageddon is an industrialized world, so they have a high mechanized troop rate.
Yeah. Okay, that makes sense.
That's why
yeah,
Steel Legion.
That makes sense. Cool. And of course, the Armageddon Defense Force. There's also two militias: the Hive Militia. I imagine that's Armageddon Hive Militia, and the Ash Waste Militia. Ash Waste is maybe a region.
Must be the ones choose to live outside the Hive cities.
They do have like planes of fire or some shit, so there might be an Ash Waste. Yeah.
A lot of planets will have the Hive City proper, and then whatever's left.
Right. Right. Yeah. Which usually isn't too much, right?
I don't know. I think I'd rather choose the whatever's left. Depending on the planet.
Right. We also have the Blood Angels. They were involved along with the Ultramarines. And the Salamanders.
Yeah.
The Salamanders were there.
Well done, boy. Well, yeah. Salamanders specialize in kicking orc ass.
I was like, oh, sweet. Yep. I was like, yep. And then we have also got the Legio Metallica, which is the Titan Legion.
Ooh, it's a Titan Legion.
Yeah, so some Titans actually showed up. We talked about Titans at least a little bit?
I don't know. We have,
Perhaps.
but just
cover them a little bit.
So a Titan is a gigantic ass war machine. It's
right.
basically like the Imperium's version of a mech.
Well, it's the biggest of their mechs.
It's the biggest of their mechs.
Right.
Like, building size.
Hundreds of feet tall, controlled by a psychic.
Ooh, I didn't know that.
Like a walking building.
Yeah, it's a walk. Yeah, basically, and
it's like a block, like a street block almost.
And it's piloted by a very potent psychic, but they can't just be psychic. They also have to have the special ability to like meld with the Titan, because the Titan has a machine spirit, which we've covered the machine spirits.
Yes.
But Titans have ones that are basically based off of animal wavelengths. So you might have one that has the machine spirit of a wolf or something. And so you have to be able to kind of blend with that.
Oh, that's cool. Oh, I love that.
And the machine spirits of Titans are so potent that Titans actually dream.
Titans have dreams? Oh man, I need to look more into Titans.
There's
this is really cool.
When they're like flying them, like they're all sealed up in the ship and they're flying to whatever war zone they're going to. The crew that takes care of it while it's docked, there's no pilot and it's completely shut off, but it'll groan and twitch in its sleep.
Oh my gosh. Oh, that's really neat. No wonder they believe in a machine spirit.
Yep.
Because of stuff like that.
So to be a pilot of a Titan is like, to be that powerful of a psyker is like 1 in a million, but to be that plus have the ability to merge and meld with a Titan
probably comes from a night house.
Probably.
There are bloodlines that specialize in piloting these kind of monstrosities.
Okay.
Titans or the Imperial Knights, which are the smaller you can't say regular mech, but
they're
more-
like
they're
house sized
still
at least.
big. Yeah.
it'd be one pilot, usually from the bloodline, and usually their machine spirit kind of gets blended by the family line. So it's
Okay.
like ancestor worship kind of stuff.
Oh, wow. That's super interesting. Okay, fine. Well, we're going to do a chapter on this sort of thing too.
On
Knights and Titans.
All
and-
Titans are sweet.
Yeah, that's super cool. That's a lot of stuff I actually didn't know before. Anyway, okay, cool. I won't get stuck on it though. So those were our participants. Key people I also wrote down on the Defense Force, of course.
Commissar Yark.
Commissar Sebastian Yark. He sounds fucking awesome.
He is.
I'm excited about this dude.
He shows up there. I for the life of me, I don't remember what story it was, but he shows up much later, and he's an old man.
Yes, yeah.
And there's a bunch of Space Marine chapter masters kind of arguing back and forth, and he just kind of stands up, tells them all, "Shut the fuck up." And I can just imagine like this old man with these prosthetics and stuff, and these chapter masters are just like, "Oh."
Yep.
Well,
'Cause-
he has an orc prosthetic.
Yeah,
At that point, yeah,
Yeah, one of his hands is a big old.
it is.
it's an orc claw.
He ends up with quite a reputation with the orcs, actually. And I think I heard a theory, or I don't know if it's confirmed or not, but like the orc arm actually functions because the orcs know him by reputation and believe that the arm works.
Oh, that
Use their
makes sense to
war
me.
energy, and that's why it works for him.
I believe that.
So I don't
But
know.
yeah,
if that's-
Yarrick is a cool cool guy.
He's super neat. Some other key people, it seems to be Lord Commander Dante of the Blood Angels.
Oh, Dante, hold on. So I
Ooh.
love Dante.
Yeah?
Dante is the oldest functioning Space Marine still alive that is not turned into a dreadnought.
No kidding.
Yeah.
Aw, okay, cool.
And he plays a very central role in my third Tyrannic War. But
Oh,
he
no
is
kidding.
he is the chapter master of the Blood Angels.
He's been around for some wars. Cool. Okay.
He's over 1,000 at this point.
Holy crap.
And most of the time you're in a dreadnought by then.
Yeah.
But
Have
no,
we talked about dreadnoughts?
I think we mentioned them.
We may have mentioned them.
I-
We don't have to get them into
Yeah,
them right now.
I believe we have. If we
Okay.
haven't, look up a dreadnought. They're really interesting.
Yeah,
it's
they're
a
really
way.
neat.
It's a way for them to stave off death. Anyway,
we also have Chapter Master Marnius
Calgar of the Ultramarines.
Yes, thank you. And Chapter Master Tushan.
Tushan of the Salamanders.
Indeed.
So this war actually cements a really, really special relationship with Dante and Tushan.
Really? Okay.
Tushan is one of the younger chapter masters,
Okay.
but he puts on such an effort fighting the orcs that Dante kind of befriends him and becomes his confidant. There's a lot of really cool back and forths between them in short stories where it's
Oh, that's
just
cool.
Tushan and Dante talking back and forth over a glass of wine about what it means to be a chapter master, because Tushan's like, I don't know what I'm doing, and Dante's been doing it forever.
Oh man, I
And-
love that.
One of the cool things is Dante actually basically says like, you're doing it as good or better than anybody I've ever seen.
Ah,
So
that's wonderful.
yeah, so
my
there's some
God.
really cool players in this war that have history later.
I love that. Neat. Okay. The last key guy I've got here is Overlord Herman von Strub. Oh, I better fix.
I will say that
Figure
one's
that
not
out.
familiar to me or Dan. It looks like
No, he's a well, he didn't tend to have a link on there, but his character, he was like the overlord of the planet or the military or something like that. He was a key figure in the war who was just a bumbling idiot and really just apparently just kind of
well, thank God you've got a list of players on the field that look like that. I mean, good God, you've got Yarrick, you've got Dante,
Strab.
you've got Tushan. Like, Jesus fuck.
Yeah. Strab. STRAB. So during this war, he was, kind of fumbling in the tactics. It sounds like things got worse than they should have because of
'Cause he's
his
an idiot.
actions under this war. Right.
That figures.
So that's all. Well, we're actually going to end up coming back to him as well here in the next war. So the results of this current war, they did declare it an imperial victory. Gazgol got away, and Armageddon's infrastructure was considered pretty devastated.
Yeah, I bet.
Yeah, under this. Yeah, because it got pretty crazy because it's orcs.
Yeah, well, yeah.
Yep. So that takes us about 57 years later to the day when Ghazghkull comes back
Oh man.
and starts
57 years. Can you imagine
Yep.
being alive as just a regular human to survive the first one? And then you're
Oh my
like,
God.
57 years. Oh.
Oh, fuck. And it was to the day Ghazghkull comes back and starts the third war for Armageddon, also known as the second war for Armageddon. On the record.
Jesus.
For
The second war.
Is it the different combatants just because they're not fighting orcs the first time?
Oh yeah. Well, as far as the defenders go,
Yeah.
I have written down a quote from the wiki. The defenders are listed as a massive commitment from every known branch of Imperial armed forces.
Wow.
Yeah. So everybody came in for this one because Ghazghkull's back.
The Sisters of Battle.
Mhm.
Wow, Jesus.
Yep. Key people again. I've got Commissar Yarrick because he's like done this once before, doing
Of
this
course.
again. He's kind of an arch nemesis of Ghazghkull at this point, which amuses Ghazghkull. Is the impression I get without looking too deep into it.
Oh, I'm sure.
Yes. Lord General, oh boy, Courier. Okay. Chapter Master Tushan is also a
Of the
participant.
Salamanders.
Admiral Parole. So, and there was a lot of space battle going on. So I imagine he's Imperial Navy.
Most likely.
High Marshal, oh man, Black Templars, High Marshal Halbrecht.
Halbrecht. Isn't that your writing?
It is. That's
Jesus.
the bad thing about it. I can often
So the Black
not-
Templars, so the
Yep.
Imperial fists were there.
Oh,
Yep.
I actually watched this. Hell's Reach. It's a city on Armageddon,
Yes.
and it's defended by some Black Templars led by Reclusiarch Grimaldus.
Yes. Okay. He's another name on the list. Nice. Okay.
Yeah.
Cool.
Highly recommended if you can get it, if you can watch it on YouTube or anywhere. You can
Is it
find
a?
It's a series, or it's like a. What I saw was a mashup, so it was all kind of like a movie.
Oh,
It was
cool.
an animation.
Oh, that's awesome.
I'll have to
Okay.
check that
Cool.
out.
Yeah. Captain Erasmus Tycho of the Blood Angels.
Tycho. I think.
Tycho.
Erasmus Tycho. Yeah.
Yeah. And then the moron Von Strab shows up again, this time not as a bumbling idiot, but as a traitor. He had fucked up so bad in the prior war that he disappeared. I think he just escaped and was presumed dead. And now he's back. He's a
Sided with-
traitor. He's made a deal with
orcs?
Ghazghkull. Yeah.
Oh man.
In order to take over the planet, because the orcs are like, we just want the fight. And he's like, well, I would like the planet. when
Yeah,
you're
but
done
they
with
don't
it."
leave anything. Oh, he's an idiot.
Yeah, that's kind of the thing. He's just an idiot. I don't know the details of it. I know he ends up getting killed for it by somebody who sacrificed.
Good.
I think the 13th Penal Legion was assigned to kill him, and they have an
Ooh,
elaborate story
That's bad.
of how that plays out. But he dies, and the thing about this war is it's technically ongoing.
Oh, it's still happening.
Yes. So, oh yeah, Chaos ends up getting involved. I believe this is because of its ongoing nature, because
Well, and the fact they were there the first time, so I feel like they
Yeah.
left out.
Angron was there. Man,
Yep.
can you?
Yep.
Good God, you have the Octaris sector popping off. You have this
Yeah.
going on. Can you imagine if Angron shows up there?
oh my god,
Angron does show up at Armageddon.
yeah. So there was a cultist effort to perform a ritual to bring him back that
Right.
was stopped, and it's kind of included in this because now it's just this fucking conflict. A warp storm happened that caused a great rift in 999 M41.
Yeah.
And so like half the planet now is like a hellscape. So there's chaos demons like to the point where like sometimes the orcs, which are still there fighting, sometimes team up with the Imperium against the chaos.
Oh my God.
Because it sounds like Zeech and Khorne are the main chaos factions within
and they
it.
hate each other.
Yeah, so sometimes they're fighting each other, and sometimes
Mm-hmm.
so like this place is just kind of fucked. Commissar Yarrick went because Ghazghkull fled again,
Of course. Yeah.
and eventually, but enough orcs stayed behind
To be a subs.
that it continues. Like the fighting never stopped, and Commissar Yarrick went with the Black Templars after Ghazghkull.
Of course.
And I don't think we know how that turns out. He's just like off into the fucking after this great orc beast. Fuck it. I don't know. So he's off hunting them. Orcs are still there. Chaos is there again. And as far as I know, it's just ongoing war in hell in Armageddon.
Yeah, it sounds like
And there we have it. So those are the 3 Armageddon wars, or the wars for Armageddon. 2, if you ask anyone, or if the Inquisition asks. There's only 2.
Sounds good.
Yep. So,
nice.
yeah.
Yeah, no, there's some really cool players in that war that.
Yeah, again, Yark sounds so fucking badass. I need there to be. I'm gonna do a chapter. We need to do a chapter on Commissar Yark.
On Yark, I'd love to.
And maybe Gazgul. Like I almost they seem so intertwined. We might be able to do
like a
both
do
in
story.
One. Yeah, just one long chapter.
Sounds sounds good to me.
So they said they're the most fun I had out of all this. So this is Armageddon's crazy. Armageddon's fucking crazy, guys.
Oh yeah.
Yeah.
I figured you would like it. It's an insane. I didn't know exactly how it ebbed and flowed, but I knew that there was orcs and chaos and Angron showed up at some point.
Right. Yep.
Had all this crazy shit.
Yep.
Okay, so I'm going to take us back to after the first war for Armageddon.
Yes.
So this is in between the first and the second one. Once again, it's kind of one of those situations where nobody knew anything was wrong. The first hints and signs that some shit was going down was there were several reports from inquisitors across the galaxy just finding planets that were previously registered as Imperium planets, as civilized or otherwise inhabited, and they were now dead. Just rock. There was no organic matter, no water, no trees, no bacteria, like just completely hollowed of any life. And they didn't know why. There was no distress signal, no nothing. And so the Imperium just kind of wrote this off. It happens all the time.
Yeah. Sometimes you get a dead world.
Yep. Apparently.
Yeah.
So the first time that they knew something actually had happened was they settled upon this world of Tyrion. It was called Tyrion.
Okay.
And it was another one that was completely vacated of all life. But unlike the other ones, this one actually had a memory capsule, a recording of what had gone down.
Oh.
And what they saw was a completely new race of Xenos had stormed the planet of Tyrion. The planet of Tyrion is a water planet. It's about 80 to 75% water or some shit. Like it's almost entirely water.
Yeah.
The Imperial fortresses that are there are basically think Alcatraz. You know, they're just these rock fortresses in the middle of oceans and stuff.
Just in the middle of a span of nothing but water.
And then, so they're all just sitting there having a hunky day eating their breakfast when their astropaths start freaking out. For some reason, they cannot get messages out because you have to remember the Imperium uses the warp to convey messages over long distances.
Right.
And so you have to use somebody who's a psyker to send this out amongst the warp to go wherever it is going to go. And even at the best of times, long distance communications is spotty. It can be confused. It can be kind of conflated. Sometimes the astropath receiving the message just gets like a general emotional impression of what the message was supposed to be.
Yeah. It can degrade and it can be intercepted and messed with.
Yep.
You know?
So,
wow.
But they suddenly found they were not able to do anything. And what this does to a psyker is it can have various results from just basically making them really uncomfortable, kind of anxiety ridden, to driving them full blown insane, like ripping their own eyes out, like Event Horizon style.
Oh boy. Ooh, Event Horizon style.
It's called the Shadow in the Warp.
Right. They didn't know that, but that's what was happening, was this thing called the Shadow in the Warp.
Wait. Oh.
It's the presence of the hive mind of the Tyranids.
Oh,
so
shit.
So the Shadow, the communications were cut off, and then the sky literally started storming, started having electric, and it was fluctuating colors like purple and green and black and blue, like all these really insane colors. And spores started raining down from the sky, just hundreds of thousands of them.
Oh,
and the defense batteries start firing into the air. The defense fleet of Tyrion is launched to prevent these weird ships with tendrils from coming in and landing. And it looks like the human beings are winning. They blow up one ship and the others start retreating. And so they start chasing them while these spores are coming down. And when they clear the storm, they realize that there's thousands of these ships with tendrils. And each ship is an order of magnitude larger than a regular like battle barge. Not a battle barge, 'cause battle barges are huge, but it's a frigate.
Frigate's about the smallest you get outside of like a freighter or a
Right.
personal cruiser.
So
yeah, frigates.
Yeah, so they had frigates and they had whatever the next one up.
Frigates
is.
are still huge.
Yeah,
Okay,
they're
right,
mammoth.
yeah,
But I mean,
yeah.
these things are big. These ships with the tentacles are big enough to just like be able to grab them and like pull them apart. So when they clear this cloud, they think they're chasing a retreating enemy, but when they clear this storm, there's thousands of them.
Oh man.
And they're literally ripped apart. Just completely evaporated.
Jesus.
Just
this
destroyed.
sounds so Lovecraftian.
These are spaceships, but they're
They're
biological
living
organisms.
things. Yeah. They look like squid, basically. They look like armored squid.
Yeah, it's another evolution of the Tyranid, just this space-dwelling
Jeez.
creature.
Has the Imperium ever encountered
No,
anything
this
like
is the first time
before?
it's ever been recorded. Kind of. I'll get to that.
Kind of. Okay, fair enough.
And then all of a sudden, so these spores are coming down the whole time, and these creatures just start coming out of the water. Remember, these are giant like fortresses, and these things are hatching under the water and just crawling out up over the walls. And they're the small forms. They're the Hormigons and the Tormigons. The Hormigont, I'm going to get in trouble with this, but a Hormigon is the ones that have guns, and their guns are actually just smaller creatures that shoot even smaller creatures as bullets.
Right.
See our episode 0, people. Don't be fucking lazy.
Oh, there we go. Yeah. Okay.
Yeah. And the Tormigons are basically like raptor size. They're basically velociraptors from Jurassic Park, but instead of hands, they have sickles.
Ooh. That's a
And that's
neat
just
way of explaining that.
Scyther, but
Yeah,
Yeah,
they're
Scyther.
they're the
Scyther.
Pokemon Scyther with
Oh,
a tail
yeah,
and
there
no
we go.
wings. But like but these are like the small versions of these are like the just regular trooper version of what a Tyranid is. And
Looks
they're
like
just
we ain't seen
climbing
nothing
over the
yet.
walls, and the Tyran forces are just mowing them down, and the anti-aircraft cannons are firing. And then they actually realize that the Tyranids are clogging their bodies down the anti-aircraft gun.
Oh my God.
It's just stopping them from firing.
Tyranids don't give a fuck.
They don't.
Wow.
And then as they basically breach the walls of these bastion fortresses, then the larger forms actually just come in and just barrel down the walls. Like Tyranids can range in size from a grub that's like I think a little under a foot long,
oh yeah.
and
the
then
ammunition for their guns.
well, no, these things are called rippers.
Rippers.
Ripper swarms. They're like these. They basically crawl around and digest things.
I know they have digestion pools where they'll try to bring back as much biomass.
Right. Well, so the rippers are what's in those digestion pools, but they actually can
fuck.
crawl around and attack things as well.
Okay.
So they
Wow.
go from like these little things that are under a foot long to Titan versions that are called Hierophants. A Hierophant is a Titan-sized Tyranid.
Mhm.
So Tyranid gets just slaughtered down to a man.
Ugh. Okay.
And the Mechanicus figures out that this is happening, and they come across this recording, and they take it to a man by the name of Inquisitor Kryptman.
oh, Kryptman.
Kryptman's going to be a
reoccurring.
reoccurring figure throughout
Okay.
all 3 wars.
Okay.
And he kind of starts studying this new thing that's happening, and he realizes what Dan was referring to, the shadow and the warp. And what it is the collective hive mind of these Tyranids is so complex and is so ridiculously like broad across how many individual things are linked to this, that it causes a disturbance in the warp to where psychic powers just basically don't work.
Whoa.
They're basically they're like a Tyranid is a Tyranid swarm is just like one giant blank, what they call blanks, the soulless. They have no presence in the warp. The warp gets no power from them, but also similarly, the Tyranids can't get any biomass to reproduce off of demons or
Oh, okay.
or beings from the warp like Trader Marines.
So
or
they
things
don't
like
get
that.
anything out of each other at all
Nope.
by winning. Okay.
So this hive fleet is named Behemoth, just because of its size.
Right.
And Behemoth is a simple creature, but an effective one. It takes all of its force, which is trillions of Tyranids and just launches them all at like 1 or 2 planets at a time and just does it in waves.
Ooh, just overwhelming conquer.
Yep. And
Okay.
so they go all the way to the planet called Macragge. And Macragge is home of the Ultramarines.
Oh.
That is where they are from. That is in the whole
Ultramarine homeworld.
Yeah, that is the heart of their system of Ultramar, which is like
It's an empire inside the empire.
it is. It is considered to be like the grand jewel of the Imperium.
Really?
Yeah.
There are 5
Whoa.
planets.
500.
Well, 500, but I think there's 5 king worlds.
Yes.
I was going to mention the
Okay.
king worlds, and one of them is Macragge. It's the king of the kings.
Yeah.
When
Wow.
I guess he's back now, but now he's too busy ruling from Terra.
But
when
Gilliman, when he was around the
ruled
first
from
time,
Macragge, that's the planet he was found on.
Holy shit.
that's where he landed.
Okay. Wow.
So they actually show up there. They actually the Tyranids
So
invade
this is
Macragge.
a big deal.
It's a huge
This is
deal.
Big deal. Something they've never even seen before showing up.
Nope. And the Ultramarines, I mean, they put up one hell of a fight. The Titan legions are called in. It is an insane battle, but they eventually do crush the Tyranids. I'm trying to think how the one Swarm Lord died. Because basically all the Tyranids were being controlled by a creature called the Swarm Lord, which is just a central... It is basically the hive mind of the Tyranids given, like, physical form.
Okay.
And the Ultramarines were actually felt like they were winning until this hive mind or the Swarm Lord stepped onto the battlefield. And they even said that the minute the Swarm Lord stepped onto the battlefield, it was like watching a flock of birds just changed. Like all of a sudden they started responding to his.
Oh, shit.
But he was actually. Oh, I remember. So they actually are starting to retreat and it becomes a space battle. Like they retreat off Macragge. Well, so the Swarm Lord and Calgar, the chapter master of the Ultramarines,
Okay.
get into a one-on-one fight.
Oh, shit.
And Calgar actually loses 3 out of 4 of his limbs in the fight, and is actually able to be held back and pulled back by the Ultramarines, and they ship him off planet. And the Tyranids go after him because he's their leader, and it becomes kind of a space battle.
Whoa. Wait, they kidnapped him?
No, the Ultramarines are like, you can't stay here. Macragge's going to fall. So they
Okay.
put him on a ship and they ship him out, and the Tyranids are like, after him, he's their leader. So it turns into a space battle, and they actually send an Emperor class starfreighter, which is the biggest ship they have. So, I mean, this thing transports Titans, right?
Oh, okay.
And they suicide it right into the middle of the Hive Fleet and detonate its warp drive.
Holy
Did you
shit.
say the name of the ship?
Huh?
The name of the ship?
I did not know.
It's Dominus Astra.
Dominus Astra.
Dominus Astra.
And that actually takes out what is the leader of the Tyranids per swarm. It's called a Norn Queen, which, again, watch episode 0.
Yeah.
But the Norn Queen is killed, which basically reverts all of Hive Fleet Behemoth. It doesn't kill them, but it turns them all into just feral creatures. There's no more strategy. There's no more.
We see like where before they kind of like did fall into sync
Yep.
and in line when they had kind of a leader mind present. Now they kind of have lost the core of that.
Yes.
kind of
Well,
direction.
I mean, it's
Yeah.
basically every single individual creature is now acting on its own.
Okay. Instead of
So
in
they're
a
all-
unified hive mind.
right.
way. Yeah.
Yep.
Okay.
And that's easy. That's
Woof.
much easier to deal with.
right. Yeah. Okay. Holy crap.
And so that puts the Tyranids on the map. And they're named after the planet of Tyrion where they were first documented.
Oh, that makes sense. Okay.
So
Holy shit.
200 years after Behemoth, the Imperium thinks that was it. That was all that they've seen.
Woo. That was crazy, wasn't it, guys?
Yeah, exactly.
Oh man.
When 200 years later the same thing starts happening, they start losing contact with different planets, like basically
no.
like one after another after another after another
Just
after
like
another.
light bulbs going out.
Yeah, and it's too fast for them to be consumed like Behemoth is.
Oh,
And what this is a new hive fleet that they named Kraken.
okay.
And what Kraken did and what they found out is that every new hive fleet learned from the previous hive fleet. They're all connected. And so each new hive fleet takes the tactics of the old one and adapts and becomes different and stronger. And what Kraken learned from Behemoth was instead of attacking in one giant wave, it attacked in tendrils. It hit a planet here, a planet there, a smaller planet here, and they would all funnel back into the big mass of the primary hive fleet.
Whoa.
And so it would just send out, it would, just like a squid, it would send out all these little that would feed into the mass that it could either then send out another small tendril, or if it came up into a giant force that it had to fight, it could just launch the mass body into itself.
Wow. Okay. So it's just in that pattern of traveling through the galaxy. I'm just like imagining like fucking fingers going through the stars.
Yeah,
basically.
if you look up the map, which by the way will be right here.
Yay, there's the map.
You can actually see where it's just kind of the main body is traversing through the galaxy, not hitting things, but you can just see little arms coming out of the mass hitting them instead.
Oh, wow.
Now, I did not find a whole lot on the second war, and I found out why is because I was really looking for stuff from the Imperium point of view, but a lot of it seems to be Eldar and Tal.
Okay. So they were the primary.
They seem to take the primary brunt of the second Tyrannic War with Hive Fleet Kraken.
Okay. Gotcha. Okay.
So I'm not going to touch on that one a whole lot. I'm going to kind of jump over that one.
Right.
And I'm going to come back to that one because now that I realize how little I know about that second one, I'm going to come back in and relook at that one.
Right.
So after that was the third and so far final Tyrannic War, and that happens. Let's see. The second Tyrannic War was in 941, and the second Tyrannic War was in 997, and the third Tyrannic War was in 998.
I have it here that the third war starts in 997.
997. So they're back to back almost.
Holy crap.
It was less than 5 years.
Okay.
Wow.
There you go.
Oh man, I thought the Armageddon wars were close together, the second and third.
No, the Tyranids.
Yeah.
So the third and final invasion of the Tyranids so far actually came from underneath the galactic plane. Like all of the other two previous, Behemoth and Kraken, came in sideways. Like if you think of the galaxy as like a flat,
right,
like
a
plate.
saucer.
Yep, that everything sits on. They came in edge on. Leviathan actually came from the bottom up, which allowed it to cut through a greater swath of the Imperium much quicker.
Wow. Yeah. And that's a dreadful thought too, because that means they're coming from different directions.
Well,
they're hitting all these worlds simultaneously as opposed to having to like cross.
And
like
fun fact, all three, Behemoth, Kraken, and Leviathan, all approached the galactic plane from a different direction.
Oh, all of them did. Okay.
All of them did. So it's painting a picture that galaxy might actually be surrounded
by Tyranid biomass.
Yep.
Just
outside the dark reaches. But we know that they're in at least three directions, and one of them is underneath us.
Ugh.
So this one was called Hive Fleet Leviathan, and it was the biggest, nastiest fleet to come out yet. And this is where Inquisitor Kryptman shows back up.
Okay.
He had been spending from Behemoth through Kraken to Leviathan. He obsessed over the Tyranids. He was the only one that insisted that this was a problem.
Right.
The rest of the Imperium kind of figured that with Behemoth gone and Kraken was not as bad, that they were kind of out of it. They thought they were done.
Right.
But Leviathan shows up, and Kryptman realizes how big this is, and he does a thing that becomes what he's known for.
Yep.
He decides that the best way to handle Leviathan is to create a fire break.
Yeah.
And if anybody knows what a fire break or doesn't know what a fire break is where you have like a wildfire that's proceeding through a forested area, and instead of allowing it to burn, you go ahead of the fire and just clear everything out, tear down all the trees, bush, anything that it can use to burn, and you just create a dead zone.
Take away
nothing for it to burn. Yeah,
yep.
Take away the fuel.
That's what Kryptman did ahead of Leviathan by issuing Exterminatus on over 500 planets.
Oh. Yep, the fuel was people.
And what he would do is actually wait for Leviathan to invade.
Oh, really?
Yep.
Oh, so
and
he was...
That way he was wiping out large chunks of their ground forces without them getting any bio in reserve.
Okay, so...
Yep.
Wow.
And it forces them to commit. You know where they are. And it makes them more desperate.
Exactly. So he would wait for them to be completely almost almost to the point of being overwhelmed, and then he would exterminate us.
Wow. So he would sit there and watch that planet get overtaken by this horrific biological nightmare. Oh, and then just
you
glass
don't do
it.
anything, or you glass it beforehand.
Like that's such heartless tactics.
Yeah, but
I mean, it's brilliant. Like I get it. It just you have to like completely shut off your.
This is the single largest infliction of damage done to the Imperium by the Imperium, for the exception of the Horus Heresy.
Whoa, that's crazy.
That got him in hot water, but this final thing really kind of cemented him as being. Actually, no, I take that back. I've got my timeline a little fuckered. So he did that. And that caused a ridiculous outcry and actually got him excommunicated. Not killed, because, it's not that bad. But
right. Yeah.
But
it's pretty bad.
I mean, it is, but
worse than death for an imperial citizen.
Yeah.
Uh-huh. But anyway, he gets excommunicated from the Inquisition. He's no longer an inquisitor. But he still has his connections, and he has the Death Watch, which is a group of space marines from all the different chapters that serve the Inquisition.
Okay.
And it's a term of service. They go in, they serve whatever the time is. Let's say 10 years. It's longer than 10 years because they live forever. But let's say they serve their 10 years and then they rotate out unless they want to stay. They always have the option to stay in the Death Watch.
Okay. Gotcha.
So he had a group of Death Watch that were still very loyal to him, and they helped him pull off what was his biggest blunder, not killing all those planets. That was horrible. That wasn't a whoopsie daisy. That actually worked. That slowed down Leviathan.
Right. Yeah. Tragic, but it did work.
Right. Instead, he got the bright idea to sidestep them by throwing them off to a bigger threat of orcs.
Oh, yes.
On a system called Octaris. And the way he did this is him and the Death Watch managed to capture a space Hulk that had gene stealers on it.
Oh, fucking space Hulks, man.
And they just crashed the space Hulk and gene stealers into the Octaris sector, which is a sector of planets that is just completely ruled head to toe by orcs.
Oh.
So basically, he's like, I don't give a shit what planet it hits. It's going to hit a planet ruled by orcs. The gene stealers are going to fight the orcs. The orcs are going to fight the gene stealers. The gene stealers are going to send out this psychic signal to the Hive Fleet saying there's life here.
Right.
What Kripman was hoping was, the orcs can just reproduce at a stupid rate and love to fight. The Tyranids, they reproduce at a stupid rate and all they do is fight.
Yeah.
So he thought these two would actually kill each other.
Destroy each other. Yeah. No, right.
That is not what happened. Instead, they became to such a stalemate that now, to this day, now in modern time, it is ongoing to the point where you have the Imperium is trying to figure out how to keep this from spilling over into the rest of the galaxy.
Yep.
You have Tyranids that are part orc, that can possibly harness war energy. We haven't seen that yet, but there are Tyranids with orc DNA.
Holy crap.
And you have whole battlements of orcs that are the size of war bosses, but they aren't war bosses. So it's like no matter which one of the sides comes out, they're fucked.
Exactly. They've created like a no-win scenario. The Tyranids are just constantly feeding off of the fungus. The orcs are just constantly feeding off of the war energy.
Do you know who you send when you've got an absolutely fucked situation like that you cannot win?
Who are you going to call?
The Death Corps of Krieg.
Yes.
That's who the Imperium has sent to deal with this.
I love that. Oh, when I found that out.
It's just great to have everything in one spot. That's
oh my gosh. Yeah. That whole thing has become just such a mixed, conglomerated mess of crazy.
But anyway, this actually doesn't go down the way Kripman thought it would, because Kripman thought that the main force of Leviathan would be sucked into this Octaris war.
Yeah.
Nay. What actually happens is, and there's no reason for him to know this, but Leviathan actually has an agenda. Leviathan is hunting for a very specific group of people.
I hate how smart they are. They don't seem like they should be smart.
It wants the Blood Angels and it wants them dead.
The Blood Angels.
Yes.
Specifically. What?
So the Blood Angels apparently helped deal quite a blow to Hive Fleet Kraken.
Okay.
And Hive Fleet Behemoth in their own separate way.
Okay.
And the Tyranids have taken the Blood Angels as kind of one of their enemies.
Oh my God. Like, oh, you're kind of a threat, huh?
Yep.
Wow.
So Leviathan just hauls ass to the Ball sector. I think it's called the
B-A-A-L.
BAAL
BAAL
Ball, and I believe it's called the Red Tier. I think it's the Red Tier, but it's basically the entire system the Blood Angels from are like red planets.
Oh, okay, gotcha. Naturally, blood angels.
And Ball is their home planet. It's also where the body of their Primarch Sanguinius is shrined.
Oh,
is that where he was from? He was found on Ball.
That was his home planet.
Ah, okay, gotcha.
So Leviathan shows up to the Ball sector, and I mean it goes the Blood Angels send out a call to every successor chapter, and every successor chapter answers. Tons of them. The Eldar show up and start fighting.
Oh wow. Yep.
It's so bad that the little Ball is a desert planet with nomads. The nomads are fighting. The Blood Angels actually an aspirant is a human that is in training to possibly become a Blood Angel.
Oh, okay.
Or become a Space Marine.
Yeah,
right.
I think you go aspirant. If you make it, you become a neophyte.
Right. And neophytes are where you start getting experimented on, and at any point you can flunk out or die.
Okay, gotcha.
It is so severe that the Blood Angels, Dante, the chapter master of the Blood Angels, looks at every aspirant recruited and said, if you survive this, you will all become sons of Sanguinius.
Holy shit.
If you survive this, you all pass.
Oh, man. Wow.
And it's devastating. I mean, they call it it's known as the devastation of Ball. The moon Ball Secundus falls, it's completely torched.
Hate it when the moon falls out of the sky.
At least it's not Roland Emmerich and it's the bad guy. But inside joke.
Yep.
But it's a really cool. I want to do a whole chapter just on Ball. Dante goes up against the Swarm Lord by himself, the chapter master Dante, and I mean he finally kills it, but he's bloodied and dying.
Okay.
And while he's dying, he's just laying there dying in front of the Swarm Lord, and he's surrounded because even though the Swarm Lord's dead, they remain, and he's just I'm so tired, I'm ready to go, I just want to die. And he has a vision of Sanguinius, who actually shows up to him and says you are not done. I'm sorry that you're tired, I know that you're suffering, but you have more to do. And this thing called the Sanguinor shows up, which is, well, we're not real sure what it is, but it's basically an angelic spirit of Sanguinius that shows up and just starts wreaking havoc to keep Dante alive.
Oh, wow. Okay.
Or just imagine a resplendent golden angel.
Imagine a literal archangel just showing up.
Coming down from the sky,
and just starts slaughtering things.
Wow. Just because he's no, it's not your time to die.
And there are whole successor chapters that just get wiped out to a man. It's the largest amount of chapter masters that have ever been just wiped out at a go.
Holy crap.
They actually win by getting help from chaos.
Really?
So the Blood Angels are actually about to get wiped out. They're on their last heels. The Sanguinor is protecting Dante, but they're losing chapters at a time. When a warp portal opens up and the very center of the High Fleet, including the Norn Queen and a lot of the bigger forms that control the hive mind, are vanished. And then they reappear on the cratered out moon of Ball Secundus, and it's just a stack of millions of Tyranid skulls.
Oh.
With the sign of the demon Cabanda. Do you remember Cabanda, the one that fought Sanguinius during the Horus Heresy, that big?
The one in the sky. Yeah.
Yep. He just basically dumps off all of these skulls with a stamp that says Cabanda was here.
Oh my God.
And what it is Khorne, his god, really, really, really wants the Blood Angels. He wants them to be his legion.
Okay. He's join me.
Yeah.
Okay.
Khorne could not have the Tyranids wipe out the Blood Angels.
So he's just oh man. Okay. Wow.
Steps in.
Yep. Steps in and saves them.
Wow. That's crazy. And he's don't forget, I did this for you.
Right. And then he probably sat down and took 2 aspirin, because the minute that happens and everything's cool, the Blood Angels find out that Gilliman, the Primarch is alive.
Oh.
And not just that, but he's showing up with tons of reinforcements.
Whoa. Da, 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 da.
The Primaris, which is like the secret project that Gilliman and his little arch
Negos.
ass kisser. What is his name?
Belisarius
Cole.
Or Call.
Call.
CAWL.
Yeah, he's a Mechanicus,
Oh,
one of those
okay.
all doesn't look human type guys, but they have been
Doc
working on, they have been
Ock,
working on a new type of Space Marine called the Primaris.
Oh, okay.
And he comes in and is like, you have been devastated. Here are all these brand new, already come out Primaris Marines for you to train up as the Blood Angel, as new Blood Angels.
Huh. Hot off the press.
Yep.
Okay.
And so they immediately get reinforced, and
Wow.
that keeps them from basically going extinct.
Well, it's not like they got a break.
No,
The
they sure as
fighting
hell didn't.
continued?
Yeah,
I
here's some
think
more. Yeah, here's some more soldiers. Get back to the fight.
Wow.
Yep.
Oh, okay.
Well, at this point, this is the Obscura. Like, there's warp storms that cut off half of the Imperium.
Yeah.
Right. Okay,
Yes.
Right.
So
Yeah,
the tear has happened, and the Blood Angels are kind of the wardens of the north of this area.
We're cut off.
Gilliman
But
names Dante I can't remember what the exact title is, but the warden, like
he's taking
it gives
care
him
of.
it gives him authority to work with all these chapters
And
without
yeah,
any problems.
if you're on
Oh,
on that side of the rift and your name ain't Gilliman, you answer to Dante.
Gotcha. Okay. Right. Because he's like, look, we're pretty cut off here. It's just gonna go through me.
Yep.
Hmm.
And so that is basically the third Tyrannic War. There were some smaller hive fleets. There's like Hive Fleet Jormungandr, Hive Fleet Gorgon is another one. So there were smaller hive fleets that have shown up, but Behemoth, Kraken, and Leviathan were the three big ones. Now they have not vanished either. There is still,
Splinters.
there are still
okay.
remnants of Behemoth and Kraken that are still collecting and fighting and
Yeah.
still out there. So it's not like they're extinct either. And that is where we'll conclude today. What that leaves us with is the 13th Black Crusade, which also goes into how exactly Gilliman is alive.
Right. So,
And-
okay, so we're digging a little more into the return of Gilliman then. in
Yep.
The next part. Okay.
Yes, indeed. And then there's
Cool.
the Plague Wars,
Yep.
which is Gilliman versus Mortarion, that punk bitch, but the cool Plague Marines. Oh man, it's Gilliman versus Mortarion. Okay, well, we'll go over the Primarch slap fight.
The Primarch slap fight.
Well, neither one of them were known for being like
top tier.
top tier fighters.
Is that right?
Not
No,
really.
they
I
were
mean,
pretty
they're
low on the bar.
Primarchs, so they're gods among men, of course.
But as far as Primarchs go, they're both
Yeah.
kind of meh.
they're like middling.
Okay.
They weren't terrible. They weren't Logar.
Right.
Or Logar.
Oh,
I think Gilliman was compensating by trying to be a master of everything, jack of all trades.
Yeah.
Okay. Right.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But his whole thing is like, guys, you aren't just soldiers.
It's like, yes, we are. Shut up. Ruby.
Now go fight.
Well, he's trying to push. He just wishes. He's saying the things he wished his dad said to him.
Shut up, Robbie.
Oh, I see. Okay.
Whatever. I would have loved to have seen Gilliman go up against Kurz. He'd have died.
Wow.
He'd have died.
Oh.
There would have been no way. No. Kurz beat Rogel Dorn into unconsciousness, and I do not believe for a second that Gilliman could take on.
Didn't he also
Dorn.
kill Vulcan? I mean, it doesn't count.
So Kurz has beaten and fought to a standstill Lionel Johnson.
Hmm.
He beat Dorn unconscious with his bare hands. And who else? Oh, he made Corvus Corax change his mind.
Made him
Corvax
change his
was going to
mind.
go after Logar, and then Conrad stepped in, and Corvax is like, Now, they make it very specific, and I like to give Corax this. He didn't run because he was afraid of Kurz. He just knew for a fact that in the condition he was in, because it was during the drop site massacre, he's like, there's absolutely no way I can beat Kurz right now. But also, there's a point where Kurz gets the drop on Sanguinius.
Uh-huh.
Sanguinius is just in shirt and pants, like he's not wearing any armor or nothing. Kurz is in full battle armor, and Kurz knows better than to attack Sanguinius.
Oh shit.
So if
Even without his armor on and all that.
yeah,
Oh,
and they're
wow.
one-on-one. There's no other people that would get in the way, and Kurz is just like, nah.
Oh,
No way.
jeez.
Not at all.
Interesting.
Is that in one of the books?
It is. I'll have to go back and look at which one it is, but it's him and Sanguinius have a conversation about foresight and what it means, and I think it might be in Kurz's book.
I was going to mention there are 2 books set in the Gothic War.
Yeah.
I forgot to mention it earlier. Execution Hour and Shadow Point. Both are by Gordon Rennie.
Nice.
Okay.
We should recommend books that are on the title.
Yeah, I was
that
also
are on the
thinking
subject.
about
That's a good idea.
maybe.
Yeah, I had that and then forgot about it.
Yeah.
Nope.
Cool. Okay.
Dan, you want to give us a recommendation for the Wars of Armageddon? Just pull up a book.
Oh, okay. Yeah.
That way we
Yeah.
can give
Here,
them something.
I'll look it up too.
Okay, so Devastation of Baal is by Guy Haley. That's the book.
Oh, there's a bunch for Armageddon. Hell's
Okay.
Reach is also a novel. I'm sure that's where the show gets its ideas.
Sure.
Oh, that's cool.
Blood and
Okay.
Fire is a novella. Both by Aaron Dembski.
Dembski?
Yep. The Relic, The Eternal Crusader. Those are different authors. So it looks like it's a very dense set.
A dense set. All right. Well, cool. Then there's no shortage of material. God, I can't wait to get into some of those. But anyway, guys, we'll wrap it up for today. This is Imperial Appreciation part 3.
Yes.
And guys, we're going to be releasing this, once a month for the long form, and then we'll do a short video at every final Thursday of the month.
Mm-hmm.
And then also when we're done with these parts, we're going to release Imperium Appreciation as a collected one long video.
All together. Yep.
So that's what's on the horizon. We'll call it a night for now. I'm Ben.
I'm Eric.
I'm Dan.
And guys, thanks for being with us on this journey, and we're going to keep at it and stay tuned for what we have coming next.